And in the morning, the group that was on the whole week was still working in the morning. They brought the morning korban, the tamid shel shachrit, and they brought the mustaf of Shabbat. And then afterwards, see, that's what seems to be many say it, after Musaf, then there was a switching of the guard, and now the new Kohanim would come in, and the new Kohanim would now do the takeover and work in the Beit HaMikdash. As you know, on Shabbat, they brought korbanot on Shabbat. That's how we have the stuff on Shabbat, and that's how we have the other korban of the shachrit, the tamid. Now, what was interesting is every Shabbat, they would put the new lechem aponim. They had the new breads. They would remove the chalot from the previous Shabbat. They would put the new breads on Shabbat. There was a great miracle happened that the breads, the lechem aponim, they were matzah, they were not chametz. They remained fresh the whole week, soft. They were fresh, hot. The chalot the whole week. So when they took off the challah, it was as if it was like the same. It was like the miracle, as if it was they just fresh challah. Now, when there was 12 chalot, 12 from the lechem aponim, and those 12 chalot were distributed between the group of the new kohanim that came on to work that Shabbat. They got 6 of those chalot, and the other 6 were given to the group that left that Shabbat. That was the distribution of the lechem hapanim. Now, the morning korban, that Shabbat morning, the tamid shel shachrit was an olah at a keves achot paseh b'boker. That was an olah, but the skins of the animal, the hide, that went to the kohanim of that who were on duty that morning, who worked in the Beit HaMikdash. They got the skins of that animal. Now, the question in the Gemara is, what about by the Musaf? The Musaf was still brought by that first group. That was the end of their tour, so to speak, end of their job of the week, pretty much ended with the Musaf. Good morning, Ralph. And you would think that who were the ones who got the skins from the Musaf? That group that was still working, who processed the korban. They should have been the ones that got the skins. And the new group that came in the afternoon should not get any of the skins. However, good morning. We had yesterday in the Gemara, there was an opinion. We are on now 56b1. 56b1 on the bottom of the first column. Amar Rav Yehuda. And in the Hebrew, it's 3 lines from the top. Amar Rav Yehuda uba musafim cholkim. Rav Yehuda says that the same way that the new group of Kohanim that entered on Shabbat and the old group of Kohanim divided the lechem aponim, so too he held they also divide the musaf. They also divide the kohanim would get the skins of the musaf that would belong to both groups. It would be divided, and that's a big chidush. It's a big chidush to say that for some reason, which the Gemara here doesn't say what the reason of Rabbi Yehuda is. He is under the opinion that not only does the group that's leaving, who processed the korban musaf, get the korban musaf, but even the group that's coming in later in the day would also get from the korban musaf. I just want to get another Gemara. Gabby, is it clear what's going on over there? Gabby, is it clear?
I can remember they used to do a pool with fingers.
Right. Certain things that they were doing a goral,
That was like with each one was so figure the counting.
Right. The figure, but here it belongs to this. The question here is, it belongs it belongs to this family. It belongs to those particular families of Kohanim that came to work on that Shabbat, and the group that was leaving. So that is the thing over here. Now let's see if any of them are Farshim here make any comment.
What is in the Rosh Chodesh there?
Right. Rosh Chodesh you have Musafim, and Shabbat. And Shabbat also you have the Musafim. Every Shabbat, and that's why we have a problem. Why do we have a Tfilat Musaf on Shabbat? Because the Musaf means extra. They put more karbanot, more than the usual. So the Rashi, right? So Rashi says, yes. So Rashi says, just like they divide the lechem aponim, the mishpah nichnas, v'hayotzei, and the group that comes and goes, the new and the old. They also, one Adam, they also divide, Adam, if you want to send to the group that we're on, thank you very much. They also divide in the orot, in the skins. So like I asked you the question, why should the new group who did not process the musaf, why should they have a right to get from the skins? The general rule is la kohen hamakriv lo yeh. The one who brings the korban, he has the right. So one of the Farshim says they bring down that because of Yehuda holds, because a lot of not always was the korban totally consumed right away. It takes time. So therefore, the new group that came in were involved in turning over the meat that was on the mizbeach, or the parts of the korban that were on the mizbeach that was not consumed. The next group went ahead and worked on it. You ever see a barbecue? You want something to get where you have to turn over the stuff? You want it to get nice and burnt? You want to get nice? You have to work. So the guy who put the food on the barbecue, when he leaves, still got stuff on the barbecue. We got to still finish the barbecue. He had to go. The first group had to leave. They left. But now there's still parts of the animal are on the mizbeach that have to be consumed. So therefore, because of that, it's a tircha, it's a job to turn over the limbs, and therefore they get rewarded. You get rewarded for your work. Just like we had yesterday, we had the opinion, right, Adam, of Rabbi Yehuda, that he says that the lechem aponim, Rabbi Yehuda held that on Shabbat, the new group that came in will get 7 halot, the old group 5. The first opinion of Mishnah says no, 6 and 6. Why did the new groups get 7? Because they closed the gates at the end of the day. You close the gate, you get more. You get reward according to what you work. The more work, the more pay. The more pay, you got more money. At the same time, you got more pay. You get an extra challah on the deal. So that was so too. You have a right. You earned your reward that you should get from the skins of the animal, because you turned over the meat of the animal. That is they quote Rashi that in Shavuot that says this idea. So that is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Now, Rabbi Yehuda says that there was not only a division between the new group and the old group in the lechem apanim, they also divided equally the skins, the orot. And by the way, there is called Chav Daled Matnot Kuna. There's gifts Hashem gave to the Kohanim, and this is part of the gifts. You're a Kohen, you work in the Beit HaMikdash, you do work, you get special gifts. You get Pidyon Haben, you get other things that you get. That's the Kohanim. Meitivei. Now we're 4 lines from the top. We're on 56b1, Meitivei, on the right column. Now the Gemara is going to bring a challenge to Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Mishmara hayotzeit, the mishmara that left, like we said, every Shabbat, they're leaving and someone is coming, and some group is coming. Osa tamid shel shacha. They are the ones who perform the morning karban on Shabbat. Umusafim. They're the ones who bring the karban musaf. That old group. They're finishing up their 7 days of work. Umishmara hanichneset osa tamid shel ben abayim. And the new group that's coming in, they process the afternoon korban. We have a morning korban, we have an afternoon korban. So the new group brings the afternoon korban. And then there's the bezichin. The bezichin was the levona, the frankincense that was placed on the shulchan last week when they placed the lechem apanim, they placed the bezichin, the frankincense, and that frankincense now will be placed on the mizbeach. After a week, it was sitting on the table, on the shulchan. Now they're going to take that frankincense. It was a kometz. It was a kometz, a kmitzah of levona, and they would put it on the mizbeach. And once they put this frankincense on the altar, now you can eat the lechem hapanim. That gives you the allowance to eat from the kohanim now can eat from the breads that they remove from the shulchan. Now, the Mishnah, this Braita, it says does not talk about the dividing that things were divided up. Doesn't say that they divided the musaf. It just says the only thing it says the old group brings the tamid in the morning and the tamid of musaf. The new group brings the afternoon, but brings the afternoon korban and brings the bezichin. But it doesn't say that the new group has any rights to the skins that they divide. It doesn't say that they have a right to divide in the musaf. It only says they bring it talks about the new group only regarding the afternoon korban, the frankincense, the levona. Doesn't say anything that they get the Braita didn't tell us that they get from the skins of the musaf. The ilu musafim cholkin luktani. It didn't say that the musaf, the skins are divided by the two groups. So what does it seem to indicate? It seems to indicate that they don't divide the skins, because if they divide the skins, so shouldn't the Braita have told us it's true that the old group brings the korban musaf, but the new group has a right, it divides equally. And the fact that it omitted, good morning, Charles, the omission of that seems to indicate sometimes when you don't say something, you say something. By not saying something, you're saying, why did you if it's true that the second group, the new group gets from the musaf, you should have also said, but everybody, it's true, the first group brings the korban musaf, but the new group divides in it. The fact that you didn't tell me that fact seems to indicate that they will not get from it. By the way, anybody who's in the business world, when you don't say something, you're creating issues for yourself. If you're in the lease, if it's not in the lease, why is it in the lease? If you meant A, B, and C, that's how people get in trouble in business. If whose responsibility, the tenant or the landlord? Right? We have a lawyer in the house. So if you would have put it into, by not saying something, if it's my responsibility, you should have wrote it in the lease. The other guy says, no, I don't need to write in the lease, right? That's why the person who, what do you say? That's how you make a lawyer rich, exactly. And if you want to protect yourself, make sure it's a nice long lease, a very long lease. The longer the lease, the better. The more elaborate you have everything written out, you speak about it in detail, you avoid a lot of problems. You save on your lawyer bill. Forgive us, Adam. Now, so that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says like this: no proof. The omission, the fact that we did not mention that the skins of the Musaf offering are equally divided by the two groups is no proof because Haitana Bechaluka lo Kamairi. This Tana, his job, he was interested in just telling us who does what, who processes that, who is responsible to process this offering, who's responsible, meaning he wanted to identify for us on the day that there is a changing of the guard, who does what on Shabbat, because there's two different groups. So he wanted to delineate for us and tell us this group does A, B, and C, and this group does D, E, F. But he's not here to tell us about the division, who gets what. He didn't tell us, so therefore it's not, you can't, the fact that he omitted it, if you were talking about dividing things, and then you don't mention that this group divides with the other group, so then it would have been a proof. But if we're not talking about the subject, we're not talking about who gets what, so we're only talking about who brings what, who processes, so it's not necessarily a proof to one against, you can't use it as a knockout, as a knockout on Rabbi Yehuda. So that's what the Gemara says. But the Gemara continues, and it has another place where it's going to find a strong question on Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rava. Rava says, "V'hatana debei Shmuel." We have a Braita, which is an early teaching that was taught in the Beit Midrash of Shmuel. There was Rav, there was Shmuel, great rabbis like you had Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel. The Rav of Shmuel, in their Beit Midrash, they said over in Shmuel's Beit Midrash, they said over the following. They were the Mairi Bechalukah. They were discussing the issue of division. They were discussing who gets what, and yet omitted Musaf, but did not say there's a division regarding the Musaf, because the Mairi Bechalukah and the Musafim Cholkim Loktani. Nevertheless, it did not say that they divide the Korban Musaf, the skins. The Tanei Bei Rabbi Yishmael, the yeshiva of Shmuel. We have Tanei Bei Rabbi Yishmael. This is Tanei Bei Shmuel. In the yeshiva of Shmuel, they taught the following braita. Every Shabbat, Mishmara Hayotze, the Mishmar Hayotze Osa Tamid Shel Shacha Umusafim. Every Shabbat, the Mishmara Hayotze, the Mishmara, the group of Kohanim that are leaving, they will process, they will perform the Tamid Shel Shachar, the morning Korban, Umusafim, the Musaf, Umishmara HaNechneset, and the new group of Kohanim that come in, Osa Tamid Shel Ben Abayim, they'll bring the Tamid Shel Ben, the afternoon Korban, Ubazichin, and they will be makdir, they will put on the Mizbeach, on the altar, the Bezichin, the Levona, the frankincense that was on the table for the last week on the Shulchan. Arba'a Kohanim hayu nichnasim sham. There were 4 Kohanim that will enter into the Mizbeach, to the Azara, to the courtyard. What would Shnayim mi Mishmazu? 2 would come in from this Mishma, Ushnayim mi Mishmazu, and 2 would come in from 2 from the old Mishma, 2 from the new Mishma, and v'cholkim lechem hapanim. And what would these 4 Kohanim, 2 from the old, 2 from the new, they would divide the lechem hapanim. So the only thing that the Braita says that the 2 groups of Kohanim would divide lechem hapanim, but it did not tell us they divide the musafim. The same way it didn't say they divide the shachrit, the morning korban. They're not dividing the morning. The morning korban belongs to the people who brought in the morning, the Mishma Hayotze, the group that was leaving. It didn't tell us that to divide the afternoon korban, the mincha that was brought by the Kohanim in the afternoon. And the same way over there, you didn't tell us they divide, and it belongs to the people who brought it. So too, when you did not tell us about the musaf, that they divide the musaf, would seem to indicate pretty much that the musaf was not divided, and belonged to the Mishma Hayotei, who brought it to process in the morning. And the fact that you turned over the limbs, the fact that you turned over the parts of the animal, the new group that entered might have finished the job, but they did not do the key job. The key job was to bring the dam on the mizbeach, the responsibility of the shchita, the slaughtering, the putting of the dam. That was the key, and that was done by the old Mishma, the Mishma Yotzei. They did that part of the Musaf. They're the ones who get the skins. Yes, you finished the job, you turned it over, but that's not, and that's not the main thing, let's say, and therefore you don't get the reward of the skins. Now, Tiyufta, the Rabbi Yehuda, Tiyufta. The Gemara says that this is a real knockout. It's a real strong question. We call it a refutation, a knockout on Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. And therefore, we're not going to go with this opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. It was a chidush to tell us that they should divide the musaf skins. And we say, no, it's not divided. It belongs totally to the group who brought the korban in the morning, or the musaf, which would be the group that was still in working. One of the last things they did on Shabbat was their last job seems to be the job of bringing the musaf. And they get the rights to the korban. So now to the skins. So now the Gemara continues. Hanichnasim, we're in the middle of the page. Hanichnasim cholkim b'safon. We say the Mishnah stated that now we turned the page already. Yeah, you're on 56b2 now. Hanichnasim cholkim b'safon. The group that enters the Beit HaMikdash, the new group, they divide the lechem aponim. Where do they divide the lechem aponim? In the north part of the Azara, the northern part of the courtyard. Why the northern part of the courtyard? Because that was the box, we call like the box seat is the best seat in the house. The northern part is the best, it's the highest level of the Azara. Why? Because the shchita, the slaughtering of the korbanot of kachei kachim, it says shchitatan b'tzafon, right? That's what it says. It says, in contrast, there's something called kachei kachim, and there's something called kachei kalim. Kachei kalim is a lighter korbanot. Kal is like light, like it's called kal v'chomer, something which is lighter, and chomer is something stronger. Kachei kalim, lighter korbanot. Now, what does it mean? It's lighter. There's less limitations, less restrictions, meaning a kachei kalim could be eaten by non-kohanim, certain parts. Kachei kachim is only, if it's eaten, it's only eaten by kohanim. So that's one of the differences. Also, another difference is kachei kalim that can be slaughtered b'chol makom b'azara, right? Could be slaughtered, right? Simon knows the Mishnah. That's the korbanot before davening. The lighter korbanot could be slaughtered anywhere in the courtyard. When it comes to kachei kadashim, specifically in the northern part of the courtyard. Another difference is kachei kalim could be eaten in Yerushalayim, right? The korban Pesach is called kachei kalim in Jerusalem, right? So kachei kachim is more in the Azara, it's in the courtyard. So there's a lot of differences between the kachei kadashim and kachei kalim, and here the fact that it's slaughtered in the north specifically, that is a special place, and therefore we give the distribution of the lechem aponim to the new group in the north. The old group that's leaving, they'll get in the south. The south is not the most honorable place, but your job is over. You finish your work, so you don't get the best place, but you finish your job. But now you're coming into your job, you get the best place. So here is it says in the korbanot by Shachrit, it says kachei kadoshim shchitata b'tzafon. right? That's what it says in the. But kotze kalim shchitatan b'chol makom b'azara, right?
Weren't the chatat offerings, like for the sin offerings, also done in the north, so as to like
Yeah,
be sensitive, like so no one would know that, oh, these are people bringing in
right. Right, but the chatat is kotze kadashim. A
Right.
sin offering, by the way, a sin offering is kotze kadashim. And you know what? If a person brings a korban for his sin, that's holy, holy. Yeah, that's holy, holy, right? You're doing tshuva. Person doing tshuva. So that's called kotze kadashim. The thing that we call a chatat, that korban, it's very apropos that's holy, holy. That's how Hashem looks at the sin offering that you're bringing, and he treats it with it's so holy. Okay, so now the Gemara says, "Hanichnasim Tana Rabbanan." Again, it said the Mishnah. We said the Mishnah stated, "Hanichnasim cholkim b'tzafon." The people that come in, they get their lechem aponim in the north. Tana Rabbanan, Hanichnasim cholkim b'tzafon. Why? Why is it done in the north? Everything is done with a reason. There's no such thing. It's random. Everything is done with a reason, right? Right, Ralph? Everything has reason. And what is it? Kedei sheyiru, people should see shehei nichnasin. People should see. Here's a new group of Kohanim. They came to work. They coming. These are the ones that are coming to work. V'hayotzim chokim b'dorom, and the people that are leaving, they will, the ones, the mishmar that's over, their 7-day work, the 7-day duty is over, they get their lechem aponim. Where do they divide it? They divide it among themselves. They divide it b'darom, in the south, kedei sheyiru shehein yotzim. So it should be seen that they're leaving, and that will be a purpose. Now, I think in the commentary on the Mishnah, there was a nice idea. Let's see, look what they say more about this. They say, Samaches. So they say like this. The people that are coming to do a mitzvah is greater than the people who finish mitzvah. You're coming to do work. You're coming to do a mitzvah. The one you finish, it's over. You've done it. Okay, you've accomplished. But now what's in front of you is not the mitzvah. You already did your work. But a person who's coming to do a mitzvah is greater when the mitzvah, like a person leaves this world. He finished his mitzvah. He finished his job. It's one thing, but the guy who's in this world, who has an opportunity to do more and more, it's a greater thing that a person has the ability to perform, so to speak. So that's more chashuv than the people going in. That's one idea. The Meiri says something very practical. Why we have to distinguish between the people coming in, the people coming out, where they divide the lechem apanim. He says, we want the people that are leaving to realize that you're leaving. And because you need to know that you're leaving, because we don't want things to mix. We don't want you to come to do work for things where you're not supposed to work. It's time for you to go home. It's time for the other people to do their job. And you might have such a great love to work, but we want to show you that your job is over. And you don't come to infringe on the new mishmar's job. So the fact that you're going to be dividing the lechem hapanim in the south is showing everybody. It's like showing everybody your job is over. It's and therefore that will serve to remind them it's time to go home. I can't work anymore. I can't go back to do work anymore. So I think that's another interesting reason Why? Whether it's because of honor, because you're coming to do work, or is it because of just people shouldn't mix up? Okay. That comes with here's a very famous Gemara. Gabi knew when to come in, right? Bilga la'olam choleket b'daron. We said about the Mishma of Bilga that they always divide in the south. That's where they divide in the south, meaning even when this group, we said there were 24 families of Kohanim. Every week, a different family worked in the Beit HaMikdash. And every 24 weeks, they started the rotation again. You did your second week of service. And we also said when it came holiday, Yom Tov, everybody's working. All 24 families are on duty. But family number 15 in the group of the listing of the 24 families was called Bilga. Because the ancestor, the original family, the father name was Bilga. And we penalized that mishma. That mishma, that family, instead of when that family would enter, instead of giving them the lechem apanim, the 6 loaves of bread of matzah for them to divide in the north, which all the new groups would get the lechem apanim and divide it in the north, they went ahead and they got it in the south. They did not get it in the north. They didn't divide it among them in the north. It was a fine. It was some sort of fine. And also we said what else? There was a ring they had 24 rings in which they would place it was open, and then the ring would rotate. It would open, and then they would close it to put the head of the animal in for shchita. They had 1 ring for each family, and their ring was permanently locked, sealed. Did not open up to put the animal's head in and then lock it. They locked it permanently. That you can't use it. They had to use someone else's ring. Also, the third thing, we gave them a fine that everyone had like a cubby, a window, a place a hole to place their knives, and their place, their locker was shut, no place to put their knives, and that was a fine that the Mishnah said happened to this group. And now the Gemara is going to try to tell us what happened. Why is this group, this Bilga group of Kohanim, why were they singled out for these penalties? So the Gemara says the following. Tana Rabbana, a very tragic story. Maaseh b'Miriam bat Bilga. There was a story of Miriam, nice Jewish name, but you can have a beautiful Jewish name, but you could do the wrong things in life too. You can make the wrong decisions. Bat Bilga, she was from the family of Bilga, she was a daughter of Kohanim, from that family of Bilga, Shehemira Data, that she went off the derech and she gave up religion. She gave up Judaism. V'halcha v'nisait l'satiot echad mimachi Yevanim. She married one of the big shots, one of the ministers, one of the big shots of from the Greek kings. One of his big shots, one of his ministers, she went ahead and she married the guy, a political office, big politician. This was during the time period right before the miracle of Hanukkah. And right before the miracle of Hanukkah, as we know, the Yevanim, the Greeks, were the ones who took over the Beit HaMikdash at that time. They were timu kol hashmanim. They contaminated all the oils, and they made different breaches in the Beit HaMikdash. And she goes in when the Greeks entered the Beit HaMikdash during the time period of the second Beit HaMikdash. She was kicking besandala. She was kicking with her feet, with her sandals. Al gabe hamizbeach, on top of the mizbeach. V'amra, and she said, Lucas, Lucas, ad motai ata mechale mimonam shel Yisrael. She called out, wolf, wolf. Lucas is in Greek refers to a wolf. And she says, wolf, wolf, how long are you going to consume and eat up the money of the Jewish people? Because why the Jewish people are bringing korbanot, are bringing offerings to the Beit Hamikdash, to the Beit Hamikdash, and just like a wolf rips apart the sheep, so they're bringing offerings to you on the Mizbeach, 2 sheep every day, and it's not helping. So it's like it's being eaten up. It's like it's being wasted, just like a wolf will, so to speak, waste, destroy the sheep. The altar, so to speak, is just eating up the sheep of the Jewish people and not helping the Jewish people. Right. That's a great point. And maybe she's like saying, everybody, you're wasting your time. She's showing like God's not helping. You know what Judy, religion is not being of service. So it's like saying, what's the point for you to waste your money? The Jewish people are just wasting their money. God is not interested in them, or whatever she's showing, that it's not purposeful for what we're doing.
She just bad things about it. Like, look at you, you're wasting your time, you waste money, and it hasn't really helped you.
But she's doing it from this perspective of like, oh, I'm trying to help. Even though I removed it, it's like the Parsha this week with Moshe, he's rebuking from a place of caring, where people actually care. And what Miriam's doing here is she's rebuking without showing that she cares.
But I think her rebuke is more, in a sense, saying that therefore you're wasting your time. Maybe like God, you're asking them to bring offerings to you, but you're not there for them. So you're not, you have no purpose for people to serve you if you're not there for them. If you would be there for them, okay. Like people say, where is God? Right? What do people say about the Holocaust? People will say, where was God? And therefore, there were people that will say, I'm not gonna. They gave up religion because God, where are you? Right? So they'll talk, so to speak. They'll say, God, where are you? And they'll use it and say, God doesn't care. God went. They'll say, well, God's not interested, whatever reason, or whatever conclusion they'll come up. So I think that's what she's doing, and really, she's indicating maybe you're right, Adam. If God would have helped the Jewish people, she would have said, okay, God is God. But she says, and you're not there for them when they have trouble. So therefore, it shows you you're not exist. Or we shouldn't keep the faith, because it shows you you're not with the people.
But she's them, not us, right? That's the word they're using.
Right, she says, right. How long are you going to destroy the money of the Jewish people? Right. She said, it say, you don't stand, you don't help them. When they're having trouble, you're not helping. So if you're not helping, how long are you going to do this? And therefore, you know what? I don't want to be on this team now. Maybe you're right. Maybe if things would be good, maybe you should come back to the team. But she's saying, people like to go on the winning team. And they say that's what happened when the Jews came out of Egypt. Many Egyptians they're called the Erev Rav. They joined the wagon. And they joined the wagon because you're being successful. So they wanted to convert to Judaism. They gave up their God because God is now they see the Jewish people are winning. So she's giving up her God because the Greeks are winning. So she's just taking it the other direction.
Tell the Jewish people what's good for us. They themselves are married to the Goyim, and they want to preach to us.
Right. So they're not coming from a religious perspective. They're coming what they think is best for the Jewish community.
They can't even show like the slightest bias. You know, they're not putting anything, there's no skin in the game. People want to
Okay.
preach from outside of the walls.
Right. So there are people that are very hypocritical. The people you can't really trust that they say, we are the Shomer Yisrael. Now people say, I am the guardian of Israel. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? That you are the guardian of Israel, right? So it's very scary. People that say they got to put the garbage out.
Oh, right.
But you might not mean the best interest of the people.
Okay, you're all right, you're all
What's your
right.
track record that you really have? So that's what, so that, now, as a result of that, Shomu Chacham B'Davar, when the rabbis heard about this thing, that means after the win of the beta of the Greeks, Rashi says that after Yad Beit Chashmonai, after the Chashmonai were strong and victorious, and they heard what she did, that she went ahead and she did this. So kavu et tabata, they gave a fine to her, that family, mishmar, and they said v'satmu et chalona, and they closed the window where they stored the Tabata. There was a tabat, there was a ring that they would put take a look, there's a nice picture over here. They would put the animal went into this ring, and then they would close the ring to slaughter the animal. They put the head of the animal. A ring was like a little thing that was on the floor in the courtyard. It was a ring to put to put the head of the animal in the ring, so that we could slaughter it. The animal will move. So what? To restrain it, to restrain it. Yes, we have a veterinarian here, but he could tell us about animals. So we have, and they put you hear that, Agabi? And that made it very convenient. Everybody had 24 rings. Every mishmar got their ring, but their ring never opened. Put the animal's head in. You had to go ahead and had to open the ring, and then you close the ring. But they never allowed them. Their ring was always closed. You can't open it. Because why? Because of what they did. So when the rabbis heard about this, they went ahead and they gave that fine to them. So now the language is interesting over here. It says they closed the ring, they closed the window, but it doesn't say over here that they said that they have to go ahead and divide in to give it them always in the south. It didn't mention that point over here. The Gemara later on is going to say, why should the whole family be fined? Because she did the sin. Why is the whole family? We'll see that tomorrow. Want to wish everyone a beautiful day. Good to see you. Hopefully everyone back tomorrow. If you're able to be back, all the best, everybody. Okay, have a great day, everybody.